Welcome to the gold standard, Making Millions with Malia, the place to be for conscious CEOs and light leaders who know that they have an enormous mission that requires millions to fuel it. I am your host, Jennifer Longmore, Clear Channel for Mother Malia, along with being a long-standing 8-figure CEO, investor, and board advisor who is committed to creating as many conscious millionaires as I can in this lifetime, and to debunk the broke healer paradigm that tells you it is not benevolent to make millions doing spirit-led work. We are in the midst of individual and collective ascension, and as we ascend, so must the way that we do business and money as light leaders. That is what this show is all about. So tune in now and find out why we are ranked in the top 5% of global podcasts and why savvy CEOs just like you binge our show each week and share it as a high-value resource with their communities. Now let's dive into today's Making Millions broadcast. Welcome back, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you during this scale series that I have created for you in order to have a little more clarity, well, hopefully a lot more clarity actually, on how to scale particular business models well beyond 7 figures. So today I want to dive into product-based businesses. And by the way, if it wasn't obvious, welcome back to the gold standard a podcast, Making Millions with Mother Malia. I, of course, am Mother Malia. And today we're going to dive in, like I mentioned, to how to really scale a product-based business. And again, we want to consider, it doesn't mean you have to, but if you were to sell the business, what is going to determine its actual value that it holds? So if you are building to sell it, you really are going to sell it. You're hoping perhaps to be acquired by a large corporation or maybe have some sort of merger or, whatever the situation is, because many people will build businesses already knowing they want to sell it. Then we know with a product-based business, the volume of sales is going to be very important, because really what that says to the potential buyer is there is proof of concept. Enough people like this product that when I buy the company, it's going to, the products speak for themselves, and then maybe they're going to add to the product line or et cetera, et cetera. But the other thing that will be top priority for a product-based business is your email list and your social assets will be a top priority, because they also want to see, do the people that are connected with you, do they respond when you say, buy this thing, or here's this flash sale, or, we've got BOGO going on, or whatever the situation is, that the community that you have built around the product is such that people respond. Because if they were to take over, they need to know that both the product has the reputation that sells itself, but also that when they communicate to the list that also holds value, that list says, oh, thank you for letting me know. I in fact will go and buy that, Now, if you're going to keep the company, then, and it's a product that they only need to buy once or once a year, as an example, the frequency of purchase is very, very minimal, then you are going to be on perpetual operation, get in front of as many new markets as possible, right? That's always going to be your job. Ads, virtual or physical storefronts, trade shows, etc. Because there's no reason for people to buy. And because the frequency of them needing to buy is so limited, you might not always be top of mind. Again, depending on your product, if you are very unique and literally nobody else does it. I remember years ago, just to give you an example, there was a company that made some sort of very special kind of collectible doll. I don't even remember what it was, but it is made by a couple and they make millions of dollars a year because literally nobody else is doing that. Right? But you probably don't even know of them. I wish I could tell you the name. I can't think of it offhand. But if you're not into that, it won't occur to you that these folks even exist, right? Because you're not looking for that product. But because they have created what I will say for ease, a cult following, they kind of built a community around that, right? And find reasons to inspire people to get yet another custom doll made and or to find a person that they can have a custom doll made for. And a little side note, please, I am joking, obviously, when I say this, but I have no interest in having a custom-made doll. So if you think, oh, am I hinting? No, I am not. But I would appreciate the sentiment, of course, but I don't need any custom-made dolls. But there are people that do, you see. You might also remember the gentleman that developed the fake buck teeth that used to be sold in joke stores. And he made millions of dollars from that product, but eventually it kind of whittles out. Right now, the sales might be a little spotty. Who knows how much they make, but that's a joke gift. You might buy, I don't know, a dozen for your friend or for a party. It's a gag gift, etc. But you're not buying fake buck teeth is not on top of mind, every single day. So then the person that creates that kind of product-based company has to say, okay, if I'm just literally a single SKU business, my lifespan is going to be pretty limited. I'm going to have to perhaps create other novelty products in order to scale the company. I'm going to have to sell this, or I'm going to have to keep innovating new products of whatever kind to either add to the line or just to kind of have a virtual store, so to speak. So if I were to create a product-based business, I would be looking at something that needs to be replenished often. Food, makeup, supplements, hair care, various things like that. Diapers, I don't know, whatever the situation is. But something that needs to be replenished on a regular basis, because that way the simple act that they need more of it because they have become dependent upon it or because they like it so much, that is what compels them to sell instead of me constantly needing to say, buy. Yes, of course, I'm going to market. Of course, but the product then sells itself, so to speak. So these are some of the ways to scale a product-based company. And then, of course, you, as a bonus tip, you could also consider acquiring a company that is already their products are complement to yours or very similar to yours, and you're just going to bring them in-house and have even more product available. Now, product-based businesses in general, if you have one, that the overhead is such that you've got to take into account things like distribution, got to take things into account of manufacturing, inflation, what happens when gas goes up, and how does that determine the price of delivering through, I'm making this up, but UPS, FedEx, these various companies. Can you rely on them? I have had many clients over the years that have had product-based companies, and boy, the manufacturers can really, I will say for ease, hold you hostage because they know they can. They can create significant delays. And if you have purchase orders for products and people are waiting, let's say a big corporation is waiting, let's say it's a company like Walmart, I'm just making that up, is waiting to buy from you. They're only going to wait so long before they say, we're not going to go ahead with this purchase order, right? So it can be an interesting business, and on top of that, well, there are many ways to add products into existing business models, of course, but there's a lot involved, and the overhead and the profitability is nowhere near what it is for a more service-based business. So again, if you're going to get into products, I highly recommend that you just love, love, love the product that you're selling, or you are so excited that your product is filling a demand, even if you don't necessarily use the product yourself, but you've created something that people kind of clamor towards. That is going to make your life a lot easier. So I hope that this was of service for you today. If you have a product-based business, or really if you're listening to this and you have any kind of business model, but you're ready to scale beyond 7 figures, there are 2 options right now that are available to you for both of us to work together. I mean, one is a scale mastermind that I have, which is a very intimate group of people. Because of the high touch nature of that, I cannot have large volumes of people in that mastermind. It is very high touch. I'm very much with you and committed to your success. It is 100% results focused. And I know I can stand behind that because, of course, I'm only going to be inviting people in if I really feel I can help you. If I don't feel I'm the best person to help you, I will always refer you to someone that I know you will be in good hands with. I'm usually pretty confident, but sometimes I might say, oh, I don't feel like I'm going to do you as much justice as this other person. And then, of course, there's the option to work together one-on-one if you really want to accelerate things. People come into one-to-one with me when they really like to move at hyper speed. And then there, of course, we don't just focus on the more strategic stuff. We also focus on really clearing out any blocks that are capping your income. Really, when I scale, I really take the approach of what is the minimal amount of effort we can take and the maximum amount of impact. So I'm not talking about being lazy, of course. And I know if you're listening to this, you're not, you're already a high achiever. What I'm saying is we can make things way more complicated. I look at what is the most elegant, efficient, aligned path to only do what we know is going to be very high dividend as far as your time and energy to get the results that you want to get. That is why I'm well beyond 8 figures, and that's why many of my clients do so well, because I'm not trying to get them to do 10 million things, I suppose I will say. It is literally about what is truly going to work the best for you, and it is not a cookie cutter. It is very much bespoke. Okay, because it's not just about what is your business model, it's about what is your human design, what is your basically your superpowers. I will say there are many variables I will take into account before I create a plan with you that also has to feel good for you to scale your company. So if you are in that situation where you would like to explore that, then I recommend messaging me on social media or emailing clientcare@souljourneys.ca. And from there, we will reach out with some options and come at it from a place of what's going to be of highest service for you and give you the highest return. So I hope this was of service for you today. I will love to hear how this landed for you. And if you feel that this would be helpful, by the way, for others that you may know, please feel free to share this episode. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Before you go, if you would like to have a chance to have your name and business featured on the Gold Standard podcast, hop on over to where you listen to this podcast and leave a review. If you're selected, you'll have your name and business featured on our show. And in the meantime, we wish you tons of financial blessings, and we'll see you soon for the next Making Millions transmission from Mother Malia.